Hey friends, welcome back to Markelly Farm. It's about the warmest day of the week today, so I'm going to take advantage of having my shop cleared out for a little bit. I pulled the barbecue out and put it in the barn so I could do some work with the bathroom remodel we're doing. But since I have room and my table saw's out, there's something else I want to work on. I want to put together the shadow box for my pie bird collection. I bought it during jaunt, so I want to get that thing put together and get it here in the house. Here's my pie bird or pie vent collection, as some people call them, down here in the bottom of our little corner curio cabinet. But kind of messy in there, and Kelly really doesn't like that location. And she said I could utilize this corner over here for my shadow box because we don't really use these anymore. So let's go out to the shop and see what we got to do to get this thing put together and get it in here in the house. So here's the item we bought at Junk Giant. If you were with us and remember it, it was listed as a shadow box, but this was actually, I believe, a light fixture cover in somebody's kitchen. But I think we can turn it into a shadow box fairly easily. It's got these outer divided, fake divided light grid work in here. I think we're going to have to get rid of this. And then we have to put some shelving on the inside of that glass. So we may need to pull the glass out. I think the glass is siliconed into place. So we'll have to pull this silicone out of the bead to let the glass come out. And then we can always put it back in later. And then this old bracketry we will take out of here. And then add some shelves in here for our pie birds. So let's see what we can do with this thing. So there's only silicone on two sides. There's no silicone on the top and the bottom. I have this little silicone removing tool that you just put along the edge and peel the silicone out. So we're going to do that very carefully, trying not to break this glass. Got most of the silicone out now. I think we're loose, so now we got to take these brackets off. All these old brackets. Boy, they're in there good. And this is hardwood, so it doesn't screw the easiest. Okay, we got all the hardware off the inside of this thing. Let's try to remove the glass. Looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward coming out of here. Still got a little silicone to remove from it, but it'll come right off now. The other side still wants to be attached a little bit. See if we can pull it off without breaking. There we go. All right, I'm much more comfortable now that this glass is out of here. We got it safely over there on some wood. So we'll go through there and clean some of this residual silicone out of these grooves. And then we need to get rid of this grid work here. So this grid work is mortised into the side rails. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this right along the edge of this piece. We won't worry about this. This will just kind of add a little decorative little accent to it. We'll sand the edges down and make sure it'll look all right. But this grid work is going to get in the way of our shelving, so it's got to go. We're just going to use our flush cutting tool here, and we'll just go down, trim these out, and then we'll use a sander to sand them flush. Just going to use our 4.5-inch grinder with the flapper wheel to knock these down flush real quick. Now we're going to take some 220 sandpaper and just kind of even out the color on the sides, and then we'll hit these corners like this to make sure the corners are kind of rounded here. Doesn't take too long. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make the outer portion of this box open as a door. So we need to cut all the way along all four sides, and we'll do that here with the table saw. We have the saw blade just above the width of the inner part of the box. So now we're going to set our fence to, I think, about 2.5 between the blade and the fence, and that'll give us a 2.5-inch deal here with this part for the door. So the hardest part will be to do the short ends, the short sides. So I think we'll do those first. We'll be real careful doing those. Okay, we got our face frame or our door cut off. You can see that it came apart. There was only one little spot of glue even holding that together. But no worries, we'll put that back together with some brad nails and a little bit of glue. And when we put the glass back in it, the glass will hold everything all together and square. But we'll probably go ahead and reinforce these corners as well with some brad nails. And then we can start thinking about shelving. Okay, our saw is still set at 2.5 inches, same width as the rear frame. So we've got some material we're going to cut some shelving out of. We'll go ahead and run it through real quick. So our frame is exactly 13.5 inches inside. So what we've done is we've came over to our table saw. We've set our fence up at 13.5 inches with this board clamp to it. And we've got it set up to where we can run this through and not have to measure every piece. But once we get through the saw blade, this board will be past this board and allow some room in here to where it's not going to get bound up between the blade and the fence. So as we pass through, it'll clear that and have room. Okay, we've got our 7 shelves that we need. We're going to give them a quick sanding because it's a lot easier to do it now than once we get them in the frame. Okay, we've got all our shelves all kind of polished up. So we've got them all laid out on 6-inch centers, and we're going to use our 1¼ brads to secure those. Okay, we got our shelf all nailed together, and it is square. So now we have to put some pieces on the frame to attach to the wall. We'll do that on the inside, on the top and the bottom. So all we had to do for top and bottom is to cut a same piece of the same stuff, and that will be used to screw this to the wall. We'll find a stud in the wall wherever it falls in there. We'll put a screw top and bottom once this shelf is plumb. Okay, we've got our operation brought down into the inside. We're down in the basement. We double pinned the door back together just by brad nailing it crossways that way with a little spot of glue. We've got our glass cleaned up, ready to go in. We've got our door taped to the box on the corners to keep everything square. And then the door is actually upside down. The door, so we can lay the glass in, actually goes on this side of the box, but in the same orientation. So if the box is a little bit out of square, the face frame or the door will be the exact same match by being the same orientation. So when this is done, this door will go the same orientation, but underneath this. That way all of the grain on the side matches up and everything. And then we've got the glass, and then we've also got a little spacer to go in here to keep our sides at the correct distance apart. So we're going to lay the glass in here. We've got our silicone. We're going to run a bead of silicone right around the corner and smooth it in there. And then we'll come back when we're doing that. Okay, we got our glass laid in. We put a piece of masking tape along the edge so the silicone doesn't get beyond the rabbet here on the inside, so you won't be able to see it. So if we wipe our finger along here and smooth out the silicone, we peel the tape off, we'll get a nice clean edge all the way around there. And then we'll make sure we get silicone all the way down in that crack so it holds everything nice and square. Okay, we got all our silicone done. We peeled the masking tape off while everything was still wet. So we're just going to let it set and dry. We'll see you then. Okay, we brought our shadow box up to the kitchen now. Now that the silicone has cured in our door, we can peel this tape off because it'll be held exactly in square now with the rest of the body now that it's cured. Okay, we've separated the door from the shadow box now. We flipped the shadow box back over to where the outside is up, and we've also determined that this is the top rail because we hid some blemishes underneath these shelves underneath the bottom. So remember, we put these mounting strips in here. So we've came over to the wall and found our stud location, and our stud location is 1.5 inches off center. So we need to come over here, measure our shadow box, and we'll come 1.5 inches off center and drill our mounting hole that'll go into that stud. And we'll do the same thing top and bottom, and we'll even countersink it a little bit. Went downstairs to our tool room down there and got our stud sensor to mark the stud in the wall. And I don't know what's wrong with this thing. Every time I got near it, it started beeping. I had to pull the batteries out of it. It was driving me crazy. So now that we've got it mounted, we have our mounting location, our mounting holes. We're going to remove this back off of the wall because we need to put some finish on these unfinished areas, and then we also need to mount the door. Well, I know what you think, but we're not filming the next episode of Dexter. We've got a cheap little drop cloth here, and we're going to put a finish on this cabinet. We're going to start with the back. We'll get a finish on that real quick, and then once that dries, we'll flip it over. We're doing it in the house because it's 30 below today outside, so this stuff can't be done in that kind of weather. Here's the product we're using here. It's a water-based product. It's not low VOC, but it's lower than your average, like urethane or polyurethane. So we're going to use this, but we're still going to have plenty of ventilation in here in the house. We'll turn all the fans on and stuff. We're just using a foam brush. Just giving it a light coat. We're not even going to go with a second coat because it's not going to receive any moisture. But you can see how it brings out the color of that wood. The wood for the shelving, and this bracket that I'm painting right here is all raw wood. There was never any finish on it. The rest of the box had a little finish. But it's going to look pretty good. Okay, we got the back all done. I did not go down the sides because if we have any drips underneath, I want them on the back side, not on the front side. So we won't do any of the sides until we flip this over. But I love how that brought the color out and all that wood, and it'll seal it a little bit to where we don't have to worry about it warping or anything. So we'll see when this is dry, we'll flip it. Now the other good thing about this water-based product is you can clean your brushes or whatever you're using with water. You don't have to use paint thinner or anything like that. Okay, the back was dry. We got it flipped over. So now we'll do all this whole thing inside and out.
On this vote, the yeas are 52, nays are 48. Confirmation is confirmed.
Okay, we got every side sealed up. I even did the back of the door very carefully because it wasn't masked off, or there's no plastic over there, but we got it done. And everything looks pretty good. The shelving matches fairly well with the outer frame. I was a little worried about that, but it looks fine. So another couple hours we'll be able to flip the door over and get the coat on the back of that, and then we can get the door connected to the shadow box. Alright, last thing we've got to coat is the outer portion of the door. We've got the back side done already. And once this dries, we can hang the door on the shadow box. Okay, we're finally ready to mount the door. We have some hinges and we have some latches for the other side. The hinges will be on the far side of the wall so that it'll open this direction. So we made sure that we're correct. This is that side. So we'll put our hinges on first. We have to pre-drill for our screws because I believe this is hardwood here, so it would be too hard to start them. So let's mount these hinges. I'll probably put one here, maybe put one here, thereabouts. So these hinges here turned out to be just garbage. Well, the hinges weren't bad, but the screws, probably brass. The heads immediately strip out, and then if you are able to get one all the way in, the head snaps right off. You can't put any torque on it at all. So I remembered I had this other box of old style hinges and clasps, and they had steel screws, which I put in, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 screws and didn't have a bit of trouble. And these hinges actually look better anyway for this cabinet. They look more kind of period correct. So I'm happier with these anyway. So we're going to turn it around. We'll put the latches on the other side. And I went with 3 hinges because these hinges were a little bit smaller. All right, we got our latches on. Got this little closure here. Got to make sure that those go down. So that's the top of the cabinet. So we got these correct. We put one top and bottom, so we got good closure. If we just put one in the middle, the ends might want to try to open up or something. But now we're able to hang this thing on the wall. Well, folks, there she is in all her glory. Pretty cool, I do say so myself. And now they're in a safe spot here. We got room for a couple more if we find some more down the road. But I'm quite pleased with the outcome. It was a fun project. I enjoy doing woodworking as well as metal, and been needing to do this for a while. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I hope you come back and see us here on Markelly Farm. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. We'll see you soon.